Hello faithful viewers and welcome back to another review. This time we're looking at the Transformers Energon Downshift / Cliffjumper / Wheeljack. The show couldn't make up its mind what he was called, but we're going to go with Downshift because that's the proper name. Now, as you can see, he is meant to be Wheeljack, but he couldn't be called Wheeljack because there was a Wheeljack in Armada who looked suspiciously like Sideswipe, except not like Sideswipe because Sideswipe was a completely different character in Armada with whom he had a bit of a rivalry with. But then that rivalry was part of his rivalry with Hotshot, and this is far too complicated for a toy review. This is Downshift. It turns into a very G1 Wheeljack inspired vehicle mode here. I don't know what type of car this is meant to be, but considering that Energon is set in the future, it doesn't matter. It's white, it's got green and red highlights all over. Very nice deco, I must say. I like the pattern work going on here. You've got translucent red windows all along there and translucent red headlights. Then you kind of got this off green kind of thing going on the rim of the tyre there and along the vents at the back. There is some detailing on the back of the car here. You can see some arrowheads and whatnot. You've got the engines right there, and that's kind of the car mode really. He rolls beautifully, very beautiful roll on him. Flip him to the underside and you can tell what becomes what, unfortunately. That is very disappointing. Now the car does have a gimmick in terms of opening doors. If you just want to sort of untransform him a little bit, and I'm trying not to break it because I'm concerned that there are clear tabs, but you can do like a gullwing door kind of opening thing going on there, so that's cool. There is no car interior unfortunately, but it's just a nice little play feature that you can do. To transform Downshift into robot mode, it's super easy. There's barely anything to it. So we'll start at the back here. Actually, we'll start at the sides. We'll just untap these little bits here. And then we'll take the windows and just hook them over the front of the car, just like that. And then we'll come to the back. We will detach the sides here and just bring them forward that way. Take this whole section, flip it back like that, bend them slightly at the elbows, and then detach the front of the car away from itself, open up these flaps, and just take the feet out like so, and split the feet, just like so, like that. It's a little bit stiff, because it's an old figure. And do the same on this leg. Come on, open, there we go. And that is Downshift literally done. It is that easy of a transformation sequence. But then again, it is an Energon figure. It's not going to be complicated. So, this is Downshift's robot mode, and it is very Wheeljacky, isn't it? And it actually looks very nice indeed. It still retains the white and the green and the red highlights going throughout. The olive green is more prominent now in the robot mode for the joints. You've kind of got this dark grey kind of thing going on for the shins there. He stands really nicely. He's got really big feet, so he doesn't have any problems with stability. And if we take a look at that head sculpt in greater detail, it is very nice indeed. He has red light piping, so you know what we've got to do. We've got to turn off the lights, we're going to switch on the torch, and we've got to illuminate this bad boy. Look at that. Superb light piping, absolutely gorgeous. Doesn't he look very devilish as well when you do that? Looking at that chest, you can see he does have an Autobot symbol right there, but it is starting to wear out. Now, TF Wiki does advise that this Autobot symbol there is very highly likely to be the first thing that kind of decays on this figure. So, I mean, as you can see, it is going there. And it does say that you're very lucky to find one that is still in pristine condition. Let's rotate into the back. You can see, in terms of kibble, there's that flap which doesn't know really where to belong, and then you've got the roof and windscreen of the car just on top of what is the front of the car but on the back of his legs. But that kind of blends in quite well with what's going on there, so really the only eyesore is just this bit here. But considering it's the only bit of kibble that is present really on the figure, it's not too bad, can't complain too much. In terms of accessories, Downshift comes with 2 guns. They are all made out of see-through red plastic, so just be careful, of course, with clear plastic. But you've got a static one here. It's kind of like a sawn-off shotgun, I suppose. And then you've got a spring-loaded gun. So let's take a look at this. There's a tiny little button there. That's the firing switch. And in 3, 2, 1... Very powerful spring to it. It's held up after all this time, so that is quite impressive. Now, as for attaching them onto Downshift, there are many options. You can see that he does have hollowed out hands, so in theory he can hold them. The guns are awkward though, because they don't have your standard grip on them. They've got the tabs either side of the handle, so if you are slotting in the guns to his hands, you're actually putting them in sideways, and they are not very secure fits. They do come out with the slightest touch, so much so that I'm actually struggling to put them in. But yeah, it looks a little bit awkward. So what you'll find that you can do, and this is something that he actually does in the cartoon, is if you disconnect the back bumper, this will actually act as kind of a hand grip for the guns. So if we plug one in on that side, and if we find the other one and we plug it in on that side, if it wants to go in, which it does, and then we can plug this in to Downshift's hand, just like that. Trying not to disconnect him, that's for later, calm down. And that's actually the best way for him to hold his weapons, and it does look a bit goofy considering that one is significantly longer than the other. I suppose it looks a little bit better if you get rid of a missile, but even then it's just, I don't quite know what they were thinking with this, because it's a bit daft, to be honest. I don't particularly like it. And then I will also point out on this tyre here, there is something for like an Energon star, because that was a thing in Energon as well, temporary power-ups and whatnot, but that's support that you can put that in. In terms of articulation, Downshift's head is on somewhat of a ball joint, but it can only turn that far that way and that far that way, part and parcel because of his shoulder struts there. He can tilt his head up only about that far, and he can't really look down at all. His shoulders are on ball joints, so you've got 360 degrees of rotation there. They can swing out about that far thanks to the hinge. There's just a tiny bit of inward and outward swivel, just like that, and then you can see his elbows are on pins, so you can get about 90 degree of bend out of each of them, but then that's kind of it. There's no wrist articulation of any kind. You've got no ab crunch of any kind, and you've got no waist swivel. You've got a reverse knee bend for your forward kick, like that, which is absolutely bizarre. In terms of backward kick, or bend rather, I mean, that's just the knee bend, to be honest. That's all there is. In terms of a spread, you do have a beautiful spread. I've not bothered to lift his arms out here, but you can see that there is a beautiful spread. He has knee swivel of 360 degrees, and then he has individual toe and heel articulation, but that is really due to transformation. In terms of overall articulation then, there's not really a hell of a lot going on here, just because he is a bit of a brick, but there is some surprises in there, considering that his legs can rotate the whole way round, his shoulders have the freedom to go all the way round, but compared certainly to modern Transformers, he is severely lacking. Now, Downshift is a Transformers Energon figure, so that can only mean one thing: pants and shirt mode. It's time to paralinks with some other characters that we've seen before. So we're going to start off with the shirt mode for Downshift. So what we want to be doing is splitting him at the torso like that and just hinging that all the way back. I'm going to come to the feet. We're going to close them up just like so. Undo those flaps, roll them in, close them just like that. And then we're going to flip the figure over like this. And actually we're going to rotate him all the way 180 degrees round at that waist joint. Then we're going to split the pelvis area and all of that and bring it down so that the legs become the arms as per usual. And then we're going to flip the top of the torso back in position. hopefully it's on a bit of a double hinge, so just try and get it correct. And then it's personal preference what you do with the robot mode arms. I like to bend those bits down a wee bit, just to give a bit of a cleaner look about him. Just something like that. Kind of personal preference what you want to do. And that is his shirt mode. This doesn't lock into place, his top panel there, so it just flops around a little bit, and considering the amount of kibble he's got now on top, it kind of weighs it back, unfortunately. This double hinge that's going on here isn't strong enough to support all of this, really. So that's a little bit of a shame. If they introduced like a tab or something for this just to clip into, that would have been 1,000 times better. In terms of shirt mode, it's not too bad, actually. It's not too bad at all. Of course, Energon figures, they lack hands for these modes. You can see there is something there kind of sculpted in, but it's a bit crap, honestly. There is no extension I could see for the leg. You can't like pull that out anymore, because I'm just thinking with that hand there, you can see the olive green inside it, the inner workings of all of this. And that unfortunately means he really can't hold his weapons very well at all. They barely plug in there. That is a very, very bad grip that he has on that. Do. It's a little bit of a bizarre look about him, to be honest. I've seen worse. It's passable. And now to transform Downshift into pants mode. Once again, we want to just rotate the arms up like that and disconnect him at the torso like that, and just fold it all the way down. Maybe use that bit to try and cover his head ever so slightly. And then it's really personal preference what you do with this backpack, considering that's basically it. It's so simple, so easy. So let's get someone in here. Let's get Inferno. Plug in. And let's just come up with something that we can do here. Let's, I don't know, plug that in like that maybe. Rotate it around that way. Personal preference what you do, of course. And that's kind of it for his Power Links look. His legs modes are okay. His pants mode is good. It's not too bad. It's just a shame about all of that crap on the back that he's got going on there. But when are you going to look at your figure from the back, eh? But otherwise, that's not too terribly bad, to be honest. In terms of a size comparison, here is Downshift with Energon Hotshot. Here is Downshift with Energon Inferno. And then let's compare him to some Wheeljacks. So we've got Energon Downshift up against Transformers Prime Robots in Disguise Deluxe Class Wheeljack. And then we've got Energon Downshift up against Transformers Rise of the Beasts Mainline Deluxe Class Wheeljack. And then of course, here's Mysterio for the final comparison. To transform Downshift back into vehicle mode, make sure that these little engines are up like that. Make sure that the arms are straight. Reattach the bumper if you haven't already and just fold that up and shift the arms up so that they tab into place right there. Come to the legs, close up the feet like so. Open the flaps on the shins, rotate the feet in and close those flaps. Connect the legs. Tab in those parts right there, and then just rotate the windscreen and the roof back and into place, and it should all just clip in nice and securely, and there you go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And so that has been our look at the Transformers Energon Downshift figure. He is very strange, but he's also very basic at the same time. Why he wasn't Wheeljack, I don't know. But anyway, Energon figures are very much an acquired taste. I got this guy at TF Nation just because I wanted another Energon figure for more variety in terms of combinations that I can do, because up till now I only had Hotshot and I only had Inferno, so just to add a third element to the mix just appealed to me, and I thought Downshift was one of the better looking and better functioning deluxe class figures. I don't think they were called deluxe back in the day, but anyway, that's what I'm calling it because that's basically the size class, but it is, and I kind of stand by that. We have reviewed also Energon Rodimus on the channel, and I kind of poo-pooed it a little bit. I think Downshift's alternate modes here, his shirt mode and his pants mode, are maybe among the better varieties that you can get from the Energon line, especially from this specific size class. But it is still kind of an archaic figure, especially by modern standards. He really does not have a lot going on. He's got nice light piping, he has a general nice aesthetic, but in terms of functionality and playability, he is very stiff and just lacking lots of things that are present in modern day Transformers. So do I recommend him? On the offhand, yes, because he's fun for the Energon gimmick, but on the offhand, no, because he doesn't hold a candle to modern Transformers, does he? So really, it's up to you. Depending on what you want out of an Energon figure and what you want out of a Transformer in general, he could be well worth it. He serves the purpose for what I got him for, and really that's all that matters. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with him, he's just old, and you've got to bear that in mind when you're thinking about your figures. So that's Downshift. Thank you everybody so much for stopping by and checking out this video. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and share it around to help out the channel. And until the next time, see you all later.